boys and girls, welcome back. Here we got an October adult caddis. I've been kind of holding off to posting this video or recording this video. I've been trying to get on the stream and find some live bugs so that we can kind of compare to what we got here, and but I haven't had any luck. We've had no water here in western PA, and it's just been really hard for to get out and try to catch some fish or even to find some fish. So I've been out scouting a few times trying to find these, and I'm just finding our normal tan caddis that's floating around. Nothing that's the October version yet. And compared to the progression that we have with the past couple flies, this is kind of what we end up with. To go through some of the ingredients, some different things that we're gonna put into this today. What we have here on the front is some mono eyes. We're going to do that today. This bead we're going to be setting back behind that and underneath the hook to kind of represent that abdomen. What we have here is just some diamond braid and a CDC wing, which is kind of tied on a little bit different so that we can create that curve. To go through the ingredients here, hooks here we have 50-65. This is a size 12. I did this a little bit bigger just so that we can see it a little bit better. I don't know that we're going to find bugs on the stream that are this big, but a size 14 or 12 certainly is going to get them moving. I have for the bead 3mm slotted copper tungsten bead, mono eyes. I kind of do them ahead of time, but I'll show you how to do that. The diamond braid that we have here is orange, and for the CDC wing, this is Fulling Mill CDC. Okay, now wire. Doesn't really matter what color you're going to use. I have black here. I was just going through some of my leftover stuff. I got whatever you have, as long as it's small. I'll show you an example here of something that was thick, the wire that was thick, but this is just UTC small black, and magic marker. Okay, black. So how we go ahead and get started with this is a pretty neat tie. Got a lot of different aspects to it if you're looking to try to increase your repertoire or things that you have in your toolbox. The last thing I forgot, I got Vivas. This is holo tinsel. This is brown. This is just to cover the hook. And what we're going to do first here, put your hook in the vise, and we're not going to secure this bead down, so just push it back. Now, if you've ever done mono eyes, okay, you can buy them. They're outrageously expensive. You can buy a spool of, I want to say this is 20 pound, might even be 30 pound orange. I have green. I have yellow, but for this bug, obviously the eye stalks at least are orange, and they're very prominent. So what we're going to do with this is just a little piece that you cut off, okay? And I cut off probably half an inch, 3/8 of an inch. You get a pair of tweezers. Try to make that even in between there like that. Okay. Then you're going to get your lighter, and all you're doing is just touching the side of this. You can see how that eye stalk starts to bubble up there. Okay. I have a mark on this pair of tweezers, so I know how thick it is there in the middle. But you don't want to make it, this little piece, too long, because then your eyeballs are going to be bigger than what you want them. And that's what you got, okay? I always knock these out on my vise here till they can cool down. And you end up with, you know, little eyeballs. So, thread I'm using, just Semperfli Nano Silk. This is orange. Let's go ahead and get this started. We want these eyes as close to this hook eye as we can get, maybe a mil or two back, because you need a little bit of room in there. Probably about this far back is a good start. Now when you put these eyes on, easiest way, just lay them on top, okay? Put a couple wraps over them just to secure them, and you can see how it kind of twists it a little bit. And then you're gonna start to do figure eights as we get, sorry about my fingers. You just want to get them on the top of the hook there and get them secured a little bit. Okay, see how we got a little bit further back from the eye. Make sure they're even before you start to tighten up on this. And you're going to do a figure eight. And what I do is I go over the stock, then around the hook, and then back over the stock and around the hook. Kind of that type of direction. Once you get it secured to where it's really not going to go anywhere, I go under both eyes just to try to lock it onto the hook, okay? Now that's not going to go anywhere. Now we're going to push our bead up to right behind the eye, and we want the thinnest part of the bead on top. We want it to hang mostly below the hook. All right, give yourself a little bit of space. You're going to go around that bead a couple times, kind of snug it right up against there. If you put your finger on the top or use your fingernail, you can kind of get in behind those eyes, get that bead turned the way that you want it. Might have to spin your thread back to get it to jump over. Okay, that's that. Pretty easy. Make sure that the slot is up so that it stays behind the underneath the hook. Okay, next step, we're going to get your piece of wire. Just going to put this on top of the hook. Keep it on top. Wind it back down into the bend. Okay, that's another nice thing with this size hook. You got a lot more room. Okay, right before the drop off there, I'm going to build this up just a touch before we put our tinsel on. Just to secure that a little bit. Okay, so I got a piece of your tinsel. And that is prepped. Lay that along the edge of the hook there. And we're going to tack that down. And try to cover up all our mess just to keep it consistent. And a little bit of a body on there, even though we're adding an extended body. You want this to be consistent. Okay, we're gonna tie that off behind the bead there. Hang that. Now all we're gonna do is just wrap this tinsel. We're just trying to cover up the hook. We want it to be a little bit of a contrast from the extended body that you know, we're gonna be putting on, and this brown reflects that orange well. A couple wraps behind, couple wraps in front. Snip that off and get everything nice and tight. Okay. Now, when you get your piece of diamond braid, just cut a little piece off of it. All this product is just woven little pieces of plastic. So if you break it or cut it, it can unravel. Okay. So what I tell you to do is get, you know, a piece of this. You can see how the little fibers are, you know, a little bit frayed here. Just touch it a little bit. Do that, create that kind of a look. That'll be the end of your tail, okay? When you lay this on here, this is where you're gonna do your measuring. I would tell you to go down and extend just a touch past where your tinsel is. Okay, we're gonna put a wrap or two over that. Make sure that it's the right distance before you tack it down. Again, a couple wraps in front, trap it. And we're gonna cut off this excess. Make sure we got a nice base here because we have to put the wing on this. Okay, we're gonna tie that off again. And hang that. Now, we're gonna start this wire underneath, and you need to use two hands to do this because you don't want your diamond braid to roll to that side of the hook, so you gotta tack it down until we get up to the top here. All we're doing is looking to provide a little bit of contrast so that you can see that segmentation. Okay. Don't want that to go anywhere. So I'm putting some good pressure on it. Okay. Helicopter that off. There we go. Okay, there's your segmentation. Get your eyeballs straight, everything like that. We got a little bit of an extended tail, and that's what it looks like from the top. That's what we're looking like at the bottom there. Okay, now for your CDC. Most CDC that I find in the package are wide. What you want to do is try to find a long one like this. Okay, we're gonna use that entire wing. No, we're not. I'm just kidding. Okay, but you do want these fibers to be brushed away from the hook a little, or from the stem a little bit. You can tell that it has a natural curve. What we're gonna do is we're gonna lay this on the back, wrap it on, and then start to pull this out so that we have a wing on this side. Okay, you're going to want it as long as your body, but the trick when you're doing this is a lot of times when you try to pull that feather out, it'll want to twist. So you want to grab the back side, grab the front side as you're pulling. That's the best way to do it. You can keep it a little bit straighter here. Okay, you can see here, we're going behind the bead, 2 little wraps, and you can see how it's already twisted. Okay, what you want to do is kind of pull up. If I can get a hold of this. See how we're doing that there? Check your length. And just try to keep that feather so that it's curving over the hook like this, okay? The nice thing about doing it like this, also, you're keeping all of those tiny little fibers right on top. Now this CDC is not going to keep this bug afloat, so that's not really that big of a concern. Okay, once you get it the length that you want, about the length of the body, make sure it's on the top, and you can tighten it down. Okay. This extra part you're going to want to save because there's tons of CDC on there that you're going to use on another bug. Okay, now before we put our dubbing on, we want all this secured, feather to look the way we want it. Okay, the dubbing I'm using is some fox squirrel. This is dyed, it's called mustard, brown mustard. That's the color, but it comes out kind of orangish. And these fox squirrel has a lot of long guard hairs in it. Okay, and that's why I picked this, because we want at the end to kind of brush those out and give us some darker colored legs. Now I have a very thin noodle on here. Okay, we're going to be putting dubbing on a couple times just because we want to kind of cover up our messes a little bit. Okay, we're going to put that on behind the bead first, and then we're going to transfer to behind the eyes, the string behind the eyes. And this is kind of where it gets tricky with the eyeballs. If you use a thinner weight mono, okay, the eyeballs won't be able to hold the strength of when you're wrapping things. Like here, I'll show you. This is like a 10-pound. I lost it. This is like a 10-pound. You can see how small it is comparatively. And when you try to wrap something behind that, what happens, it's going to squeeze those eyes forward. I use these on much smaller bugs, like size 16s or 18s, to where you're not going to have the bulk that we have, you know, with this bug here. So there's another twist that you can do that. Now, when we put this on here behind the eyes, we're just trying to create a little bit of fuzziness that's going to wrap and create that head. Okay, we're still going to wrap behind the eyes. So that was a really thin noodle that I did like a figure 8 over there, over the eyeballs. Just try to line everything up before this last piece of dubbing goes in. Because what we're going to be doing with this last one is like filling the gaps, so to speak, around that bead. And that kind of helps build that head a little bit too. The nice thing is that nano silk, you can sink that thread down behind the bead on this side, in between the eyes. So once you build that up a little bit, it's really just a preference to how you think the head should look. Okay, we're gonna tie that off and cut that. Now you want to get your brush, hold on to your wing. Okay, I'm gonna try to brush the top of this out a little bit because they are a little bit fuzzy. But what we're mostly trying to get are some leg imitations. Okay. Leg imitations, antenna imitations. You can put antennas on this. I've done that before. I don't know if it makes a difference or not. Makes the bug look better, but I don't think the fish is going to say, oh, that doesn't have antennas. So here we go. An adult October Caddis. You can see how sparkly and shiny it is. The brown trout love these. And those long guard hair fibers, you can brush this out as much as you want. Oh, I forgot. Your magic marker. What you want to do with that is just color the outside edges of those orange eyes. Almost like you're trying to create them looking at you. Because you know, the adult October Caddis have orange eye stalks, but the very tips of their eyes, okay, are black. So it kind of helps with that. This, when it gets wet, is going to fold down over, you know, and create that little tent-like pair of wings that you know, you're gonna see on the caddis. So just about that time. We're hoping for some water here this week. Go tie some of these up, go out in the creek, see if you can find them, catch some fish. All right, guys, thanks for stopping by. We'll see you again soon.